Good morning, everyone, and thank you for choosing Market Briefing, market analysis, and financial news. Every day, our goal is to provide you with a thorough and knowledgeable analysis of the most relevant financial news to help you navigate the complex economic landscape. Let's begin our daily review. Market Analysis, October 17, 2023. Here is a 985-word original script for a YouTube video reporting on the key international financial news from today, October 17, 2023. Major trends in global financial markets. U.S. Treasuries declined, sending yields higher, while stocks were little changed in Europe and U.S. futures markets. The yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury note climbed to over 4.7%, and the 30-year yield rose more than 5 basis points. The sell-off steepened the yield curve. In equities, Europe's Stoxx 600 index was flat, as were S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 futures, following gains for both indices yesterday. An Asian stock index snapped a 2-day losing streak. Driving markets was the evolving situation between Israel and Hamas. U.S. President Biden is visiting Israel tomorrow in a diplomatic push to contain the conflict. Secretary of State Blinken also returned to Israel to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu, after talks with Arab governments. Russian President Putin held calls with regional leaders and expressed support for a ceasefire. While tensions remain high, the diplomatic efforts appear to be calming markets somewhat. In corporate news, Ericsson shares plunged after the Swedish 5G equipment maker warned of ongoing weak demand. But Rolls-Royce shares rose as the British jet engine maker unveiled restructuring plans including job cuts. Investors are closely monitoring corporate earnings after Wall Street analysts predicted weakening outlooks. Major U.S. banks like Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and J.P. Morgan Chase report this week, along with companies like Johnson & Johnson, United Airlines, Netflix, and Tesla. In economic data, the British pound weakened following signs of cooling in the UK labour market. This could allow the Bank of England to keep interest rates steady at its November meeting. The US dollar edged slightly higher. Oil and gold prices steadied after recent declines. Looking ahead, traders are listening to comments from Federal Reserve officials before a quiet period ahead of the November policy meeting. Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker reiterated that the Fed can likely hold interest rates steady if economic data remains stable. In Asia, investors are watching distressed Chinese developer Country Garden Holdings as it faces a deadline to pay interest on a dollar-denominated bond. Its ability to avoid default is seen as symbolic of China's broader property debt crisis. Before proceeding with our analysis, we would like to remind you that your support is very important to us. If you enjoy this video and find our content helpful and engaging, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. This helps us grow and provide you with even more quality content. Now, let's get back to the news on the financial markets and the latest updates. The US dollar stabilized against other major currencies today ahead of critical economic data releases. The cautious stance comes after the dollar weakened yesterday amid improved risk appetite. The dollar index was slightly higher early Tuesday after dropping the previous session. Investors are awaiting U.S. retail sales and industrial production figures later today. Multiple Fed officials are also slated to speak. Geopolitical tensions remain elevated, but U.S. and European stock futures edged only modestly lower after solid Wall Street gains Monday. Israel conducted heavy bombardments in Gaza overnight per reports. U.S. President Biden travels to Israel Wednesday, though military action could coincide. The dollar notched small gains around 0.05% against the euro and yen today. More noticeable upside was seen versus the British pound, up 0.28%, and the Aussie, up 0.32%. The loonie and Kiwi lagged. US dollar to Canadian dollar steadied above 1.3600 after tumbling yesterday. Canadian CPI and core inflation data is due from Statistics Canada and the BAC. The mixed data could influence expectations for further rate hikes. The New Zealand dollar sank as quarterly CPI rose just 1.8% against expectations of 2%. The soft inflation print reduces pressure on the RBNZ to continue aggressive tightening. New Zealand dollar to US dollar declined over 0.5% toward 0.5900. Meanwhile, the Australian dollar climbed as RBA minutes downplayed risks of over-tightening. The bank acknowledged upside inflation risks remain significant. Australian dollar to US dollar rose back above 0.6350. Euro to US dollar stabilized around 1.0550 after yesterday's gains. The euro lacked firm direction amid the wait for US data and central bank speakers. The pound drooped slightly as UK wage growth moderated in August. Reduced labor cost pressures give the BOE leeway to pause rate hikes. Pound sterling to US dollar slipped 0.3% to 1.2175. US dollar to Japanese yen continued its sideways grind near 149.50. The pair is trapped between broad dollar moves and yields. The 10-year Treasury yield holds around 4.75%. Finally, gold prices consolidated under $1,920 as rising yields offset dollar softness. Gold ounce per US dollar remains stuck in a narrow range after recent swings. Looking ahead, the dollar may react to upcoming US data, particularly retail sales. Soft results could undermine tightening expectations. Fed speakers may also influence rates pricing. Brexit headlines are in focus for the pound. Further inflation data is due from Canada and the UK this week as well. Key events this week. Chinese President Xi Jinping hosts world leaders at the Belt and Road Initiative Forum from Tuesday to Wednesday, with Russian President Vladimir Putin expected to attend. Joint European Central Bank/IMF Policy and Research Conference, Tuesday. Germany ZEW Survey Expectations, Tuesday. UK Jobless Claims, Unemployment, Tuesday. US Retail Sales, Business Inventories, Industrial Production, Tuesday. Goldman Sachs, Bank of America Earnings, Tuesday. New York Fed President John Williams moderates discussion, while Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin speaks at a separate event, Tuesday. Reserve Bank of Australia Governor Michelle Bullock speaks, Wednesday. China GDP, Retail Sales, Industrial Production, Wednesday. UK CPI, Wednesday. Eurozone CPI, Wednesday. Morgan Stanley, Netflix, Tesla Earnings, Wednesday. Federal Reserve issues Beige Book Economic Survey, Wednesday. Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker and New York Fed President John Williams speak at separate events, Wednesday. Australia unemployment, Thursday. Japan trade, Thursday. China property prices, Thursday. U.S. initial jobless claims, existing home sales, leading index, Thursday. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee, Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic, Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker, Dallas Fed President Lori Logan speak at different events, Thursday. Japan CPI, Friday. China loan prime rates, Friday. Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker speaks, Friday. Some of the main moves in markets. Stocks. The Stoxx Europe 600 rose 0.1% as of 8:15 a.m. London time. S&P 500 futures were little changed. Nasdaq 100 futures were little changed. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average were little changed. The MSCI Asia Pacific Index rose 0.7%. The MSCI Emerging Markets Index rose 0.6%. Currencies. The Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index rose 0.1%. The euro fell 0.1% to $1.0547. The Japanese yen was little changed at 149.64 per dollar. The offshore yuan fell 0.2% to 7.3207 per dollar. The British pound fell 0.4% to $1.2174. Cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin fell 0.5% to $28,253.61. Ether fell 0.1% to $1,586.28. Bonds. The yield on 10-year Treasuries advanced 4 basis points to 4.75%. Germany's 10-year yield advanced 3 basis points to 2.81%. Britain's 10-year yield was little changed at 4.48%. Commodities. Brent crude was little changed. Spot gold was little changed. In conclusion, We'd like to thank you for watching Market Briefing, market analysis, and financial news. If you enjoyed our insights and found the information helpful, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to our channel to stay updated with future analyses. Thank you again for your support, and we'll see you soon with more interesting news. Remember, the information in this video is purely informational and does not constitute investment advice. Always consult with a professional before making financial decisions.